It was just another slow Friday afternoon in math class, the last class of the week. Spring break was about to start, so nobody was paying attention. People were fidgeting, whispering, just counting the minutes. We didn't have a test or anything, so our teacher, who was pretty chill most of the time, opened up a quiz game on the projector. Something about brand logos. I was sitting next to my friend when he shouted the answer, Adidas, and we laughed. That's when the loudspeaker cut in. The voice of the assistant principal cracked through the room. He didn't sound calm like usual. He was yelling. He said this wasn't a drill and that every class had to go into lockdown immediately. I felt cold all over, and goosebumps crept up my arms. Even our teacher looked rattled as he rushed to switch off the lights and told us to get down and move to the back of the room. We all huddled together, crouched near the cabinets. Nobody said a word. You could feel the fear hanging in the air. After a minute or two, the faint hum of electricity in the room stopped. Everything went dead silent. No lights, no screens. The school must have cut the power completely. That was the moment it became real. This wasn't a drill, and something bad was happening. Then we heard someone yelling, a man, screaming words I couldn't fully understand at first, but the tone was wild, like he was out of control. He was getting closer, stomping down the hallway. Then the banging started. Not at our door yet, just lockers being slammed. I remember looking at my classmates. Some were frozen. 2 girls had their faces buried in their hands, quietly crying. That made it worse. Seeing people cry made the panic real. The man was getting closer. Now we could hear his words clearly. He was yelling that he would kill all of us. And then came the moment I'll never forget. He reached our classroom door. He started banging on it hard, over and over. Someone near me gasped. One of the girls near the front broke down and screamed. The man yelled at us to open up. We didn't move. Nobody did. Our teacher motioned for us to stay quiet, holding a finger to his lips. The pounding on the door continued. It felt like it would never stop. I was sure the door would give in, that this was the end. But then, after what felt like forever, the banging moved away. The screams faded as the man moved further down the hall. We sat in complete silence, too afraid to move or even whisper. At least 10 minutes passed before the intercom came back on. The same panicked voice, but a little calmer now. He explained what had happened. A man had walked into the front office and attacked the receptionist. She managed to escape and run outside. Nobody knew if he was armed, so the lockdown was immediate. The school had no cameras, and security was almost non-existent at the time. It was too easy for something like this to happen. They couldn't find the man in the building. After a full sweep, the teachers were told to continue class, but keep the doors locked. No one could leave, even for the restroom. The most disturbing part came later that night. One of the janitors found the man hiding in a supply closet in the back of the school. They said he was asleep in there. And rumor was that something heavy and metal was sticking out of his jacket pocket. Something like a large revolver. A .44, someone said. The janitor must have startled him, because by the time police showed up, the guy had vanished again. As far as I know, they never caught him. I have no idea where he went or who he was. I like to believe he got the help he needed, but part of me still thinks about how close we all came to something worse.
Our school had 2 different lunch periods. The first one was mostly for 6th graders and some 7th graders. The rest of the 7th and all 8th graders had the second lunch. I was in the first lunch group, and the day everything happened was in early October, on one of those gloomy, rainy days. I remember standing in line to grab lunch, just talking with my friends, when suddenly there were 4 loud bangs outside. At first, I thought it was thunder, but then people around me started freaking out, screaming, running. I thought they were overreacting until I saw the campus security rush in. They were shouting at everyone to get inside the multi-purpose room, telling the kids in line to leave their food and move fast. Me and a bunch of others hurried into the big room. It's huge, and one of the walls is just glass panels looking out toward the back of the school. As we poured in, staff members were pulling curtains over the glass and locking every door. There were adults stationed at every exit, looking tense. Nobody really knew what was going on. My friend Liam tried to ask one of the staff members, and when he came back to us, his face looked pale. He told us that just across the street, near the corner houses by the school gate, a man had barricaded himself inside his house and was threatening to hurt himself and, worse, to hurt the police if they came to evict him. Apparently, he'd been walking around outside the school before the lockdown, watching the kids in a strange way. We didn't see him ourselves, but Liam said the guy was acting off. And he was also, according to the staff, a registered sex offender. The whole thing suddenly felt way more serious. We ended up stuck in that room for over an hour. It dragged on forever, and we missed 2 full classes. One by one, the teachers came to get us, walking us back to our classrooms, while security stayed posted around the campus. Later that day, I found out the man actually lived next door to my friend Marissa. She told me something that still gives me chills. Last Halloween, she saw that man standing in his window late at night. He had written something on the glass with what looked like blood. It said, "Don't come here or I'll kill you." At the time, she and her family thought it was just some creepy decoration, something meant for Halloween. But now it was clear he wasn't playing games. He'd actually cut himself and used his own blood. After that day, he never came near the school again. Maybe the police finally got involved, or someone made sure he stayed away. Either way, we were all relieved that the lockdown didn't end worse. But we also never forgot how close we were to something really dangerous. And every time I walk past those houses now, I still glance at the windows, half expecting to see him staring back.
I'm 22 now, fresh out of college, and a few months ago I landed a job back at my old high school. I was hired as a tech assistant, mostly dealing with the school's servers and helping staff with computer issues. The office I worked in was in the basement, kind of hidden. Not many people even knew it existed. Despite the location, it wasn't bad at all. The room had 3 big desks, a couple of mini fridges, a TV on the wall, and strong air conditioning, which honestly made it one of the most comfortable places in the building. I worked with 2 other guys, Dave and Marcus. Both of them used to be my teachers, but we had become friends over the years. They helped me get the job. Most days were quiet. I'd spend my time organizing files or fixing minor network problems. That all changed one afternoon. It was lunchtime, and I was alone in the basement office, eating a sandwich and scrolling on my phone. Dave and Marcus were upstairs, helping a teacher with some kind of printing issue. Then I got a call from the front office. One of the secretaries, sounding rushed, told me the school was on lockdown. She said someone had entered the building and might be armed. My stomach dropped. I asked if she knew anything else, but she just told me to stay where I was and keep the lights off. The office I worked in didn't even have a real door, just a wide opening. And the door leading into the basement from the hallway didn't have a lock either. Still, I shut off all the lights and dimmed my computer monitor. I slid my phone onto the desk and texted both Dave and Marcus asking if they were okay, but neither of them replied. I waited in the dark. No idea what was happening upstairs. The basement was so far removed from the rest of the school that I couldn't hear anything. I sat there, checking my phone over and over. 15, maybe 20 minutes passed like that. Then I heard the basement door creak open, I sat upright, heart racing. Maybe it was Dave and Marcus. I thought about calling out to them, but something stopped me. I stayed still. Someone came running down the steps fast. I froze. Whoever it was moved through the basement and came into the office. They didn't turn on the lights. I dropped to the floor and slid under my desk, trying to breathe as quietly as I could. My body was tense, every muscle locked up. Then my phone vibrated. I stared at it in the dark, praying that the person didn't hear it. A few seconds later, I heard footsteps moving closer to my desk. I knew whoever it was had heard the vibration. I clutched the legs of the chair, trying not to cry. Then suddenly, someone reached under and grabbed my arm. I panicked, thinking I was about to die, but the man just whispered that it was okay. He said he was hiding too. He looked like a dad. Red plaid shirt, jeans, a cap pulled low over his face. He asked what was going on upstairs. I mumbled something about a lockdown. Then he asked if there was an exit in the basement. I pointed in the direction of the emergency stairwell, but something felt off. I asked him who he was. There was a long pause before he said he was just a parent who had come to pick up his kid and had been told to hide. I nodded slowly. Then I remembered the message on my phone. I picked it up and looked. It was from Dave. It said, "Dude, this is insane. Some guy shot Mr. Halden. He's got a gun. Red shirt, black cap. Do not come upstairs." I looked up at the man across from me. Red plaid shirt, cap, everything matched. He was staring at me, trying to read my reaction. I tried to stay calm, but my body betrayed me. I couldn't hide the fear in my face. He noticed. I didn't wait. I bolted out from under the desk and ran towards the stairs. Behind me, I heard something metal hit the wall. I didn't stop. I pushed through the basement door and ran up the stairs, 2 at a time. At the top, officers were already in the hallway. One of them opened the door just as the man was trying to follow me. He was tackled and arrested right there. Later, I found out that he had some kind of grudge against Mr. Halden, one of the history teachers. No one knew exactly why. Thankfully, Mr. Halden survived and the man was taken into custody. But I'll never forget the way he sat in the dark with me, like he belonged there, calm, waiting, watching. I think about how close I came to not walking out of that basement.